Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome to another beginner's guide for Marvel Heroes Omega. Now the hero we'll be looking at today will be a hero that is going to be the first new hero released onto consoles, and that would be Black Cat. She's certainly very interesting. She's got a lot of claw powers, whip powers, she has a traps section to her, and she's got an awesome mechanic that works around the fact that cats are known to have 9 lives, but we'll look at that in a moment. But she's certainly interesting as mentioned. So the actual order of what we'll look at in this video is it'll be the attributes and traits first, and then our resource as well. We'll then have a look at a few of her costumes. We'll follow that up by having a look at her signature and ultimate, and to finish up the video we've got 2 gameplay run throughs. The first one will be more her claw and whip skills, and the second one will be her trap setup. So first up, let's have a look at the attributes and traits. We start off here then by looking at the offensive trait, and that is called Bad Luck. So with this she gains a 3% flat critical hit chance, and her 2 synergies are fighting and speed. Actually the same as the last hero I covered for the beginner's guides, which was Nightcrawler. So fighting and speed are both great. Fighting gives you the crit rating multiplier, and speed adds to your dodge rating, which Black Cat actually has as one of our multipliers. Now for the defensive side of things, this is called Cat Suit. So it provides her with a 3% flat dodge chance, and she actually gains a multiplier to both deflect and dodge rating, and also as a primarily melee hero she has that flat 8% damage reduction. Now for her resource, her primary resource is Spirit, so she'll fire off moves and it will run down. Her secondary resource is pretty great, and I like this. This is called 9 lives. So with this, when you take enough damage that would normally leave a regular hero defeated, you instead come back to life and you restore 9% of your maximum health, and this will remove one of your 9 lives. Now you regenerate them at a rate of 1 every 90 seconds, and not surprisingly it is 9 max charges of this you can have. It is really nice, and I like to see mechanics like this put in that really make heroes stand out. But what we'll do next is we'll have a look at a few of her costumes. For the default costume then we have the classic look, and it's pretty simple but it is pretty nice looking as well. We then have the all new Marvel Now costume, and this one does look really quite nice. I like the whip that's actually rounded as a belt. And then we finish up with a very different one. This is Popstar Earth 65. Now it does look strange, you're probably thinking what the hell is this, but she actually has an electric crackling whip when she uses this, so for that reason I actually love this costume because it's really quite unique. So when we show off that show whip section of gameplay, I'll make sure to use this costume so you can see how good it does look. But what we'll check out next will be her signatures, because she actually has 2 of them, so let's check them out. First signature we'll look at here then is based more around the melee claw side of things. So this is called Cat Scratch Fever. So you'll quickly dash round the screen, you do in total 20 hits, and while you're actually casting this particular skill you're invulnerable as well. So it looks really nice, and the invulnerability portion certainly does make it very useful from a defensive perspective as well. But let's check out the next signature she has, and this is all based around the traps. So this one here really is pretty awesome as well. So it's called the Cat's Meow, and the way it works is she'll leap up in the air and then throw out a whole range of traps around her, and it has 2 damage portions. It has the when she leaps up and then crashes down portion, and then it has the explosion from all the traps as well. And like the last signature we looked at, you're also invulnerable while you're casting this, and it has the same cooldown, so it really is just personal preference what one you prefer. I really do like the look of this particular one, though, the explosions and all the smoke coming off them. Big fan of this. But what we'll look at next will be her ultimate skill. For the ultimate we have a skill called Unleashed, and there really are quite a lot of different parts to this. If we look at the top of the tooltip, we'll work our way down. Initially you recover 100% of your maximum health, spirit and 9 lives. On top of that, you restore 4 of your 9 lives every second, essentially making you unkillable. And also you instantly refresh all powers currently on cooldown, and cooldowns of powers are reduced by 25% for the duration of this ultimate. On top of that, you actually do damage to up to 9 enemies, and that will be via the cat claw visual you can see on screen at the moment. And also you gain a buff to your attack speed, movement speed, damage rating, and finally your critical hit rating as well. So it really is nice. You've got the huge offensive defensive buff, you've got all the actual cat claw attacks going off at the same time, and on top of that you can also be attacking as well. So I really do like it a lot. Now next up we have 2 gameplay segments to show off. So in the first one we'll have a look at her whip and claw skills. So as promised, for this gameplay segment we will show off the pop star costume that has this awesome whip visual. So in regards to the whip spenders, she has 2. The one we're showing off here is grappling whip, and that provides a bonus to enemies that are bleeding. The other variant she has provides a bonus when you have a trap attack on cooldown. So if you're using a trap setup, that will be essentially 100% uptime you'll have on it, because you'll constantly be firing off your traps. But the next skill we have is a great one from a mobility perspective. It's almost like a crash down skill, but you can spam this, so it's great for moving around the screen and getting in the enemy's face. And on top of that, it has a dot for 8 seconds. It works as a bleeding dot, so you can leap onto the enemy and then leap to the next group of mobs and leave the dot on them to finish them off. So really great skill. We then have a barrage attack, so it's a pretty standard attack which a lot of heroes have. This one does 6 different attacks with her claws, and it also boosts your claw power damage by 15%. The next 2 skills we look at, it mentions on the tooltip that these are only usable while stealthed or invisible. However, through talents you can change this so they become standard cooldown skills, and that's the setup that I personally prefer. Now the first one we look at, it's called Catnap. You have your 2 hits on it. On top of that, it works as an execute, knocks down the enemy for 2 seconds, and you can also use it every 4 seconds as well. The next skill we have is Put 'em Down. So with this particular one, as mentioned like the last one, normally you have to use it while stealth, but we can actually use it just as a regular cooldown skill for a talent selection. And with this, it works as a dot, and it's an 8-second duration with a 4-second cooldown, so you can have this up all the time. We then have Come Here Kitty, and this is essentially the whip version of Full Fillet, which buffs claw attacks. This one will buff your whip attacks, and you have 2 hits when you lash out with it. The final skill we look at then for this gameplay section is another movement one, and this is one that you can also spam as well. So along with the ones we looked at earlier, you really can get a great sense of mobility with her, which is what you would expect. We're actually firing it off right now and you can see it. It's a nice skill. It's called Claws Out, so you'll spin round with your claws out, not surprisingly, and you'll leave a bleeding dot on the enemy for 6 seconds. This is a fun one to whiz round the screen and then just keep really going on and leave the bleed to finish the enemies off. But we'll fire off all these skills together now to take down Shocker. And there we go, that's him just about down, so you really can see that great sense of mobility that she has, and also the whip visual looks fantastic as well on this costume. But next up, what we'll do is we'll check out the traps side of things, and this is pretty interesting as well. So just before we show off all the various traps here, I had space to add another filler skill to show off. So this is your claw filler attack, and this is called Deep Cuts. With this you gain a huge 15% critical hit chance, and the effect is doubled if Full Fillet is on cooldown, so that's really pretty fantastic there. And if you want to go for a heavy crit damage rating build, this is the skill you want to use as your main spender. Now if we move on to the traps, the first one we look at is Sticky Trap. So you'll throw this out. As with the rest of the traps, they have a 1.5 second timer. This particular one will explode, just an initial damage packet, no dot or anything like that, but it will leave the enemy vulnerable for 8 seconds, and on top of that it will actually be immobilised for 4 seconds as well. Now charges wise, the way this works, due to a talent setup you can use, she actually has 6 charges for these next 3 traps we look at, and all the charges are shared between them. But the next trap we look at, and we can see the visual for it on screen there, it's gas trap. So this will work as a dot. It also weakens the enemy, has a standard 1.5 second timer, and again we're sharing the charges. We then have explosive traps. This is a ton of fun, and it really makes the actual physics in the game go into overdrive, as you've seen there as that enemy went blasting past the screen. So it is just a damage heavy trap. It doesn't have any special effects, but for that reason it does do a huge amount of damage. Regular 1.5 second on the timer, and again the charges are shared between sticky trap and also gas trap as well. The next trap we have is an actually really interesting one. Now the charges on this are independent from the other traps because it does work differently. This is called taser trap. So if you throw this down, if you throw them down close enough, they'll link up with a big line of electricity. It's similar to rocket and certain turrets you can set that up with, but it'll work as a dot if the enemy goes through it. They stay summoned for 10 seconds, and you have 3 charges through talents as well, so you can make a nice triangle and box the enemies in there with it, if you can ever box anything in with a triangle. But final skill we look at, this is Master Thief. So you can only use it every 30 seconds, but it makes you invisible, stuns the enemy for 2 seconds. You will recover spirit while this is active, the steroid portion, which is 5 seconds. You gain a chance on melee hit to steal valuables from enemy. You gain a huge buff to your damage rating, and you also restore spirit as well. So it's a great skill. Now I'll also mention, the reason I've showed it off with the traps is through talents you can have this that resets all the charges of your traps as well. So it works great with this particular setup. So with all the skills covered anyway, that's another beginner's guide complete, and I hope you enjoyed watching this one. She's actually a pretty interesting character. She's highly mobile, she's got the traps that are a lot of fun as well, and she's got that stealth element, so I would say it is worthwhile checking her out. Now as always, if there's any questions or anything else, feel free to ask below. Thanks for tuning in for this, and I'll see you all again soon.